Hello, everyone. Welcome to Southeastern 14. I am Blayne Gilmer here once again to be covering SEC football. It never stops, even during the off season here. We're going to be giving you content all year long. So make sure to like, subscribe, follow, turn on notifications, tell your friends about us because there's going to be off season content leading all the way going into the season. We've got basketball content going on right now, college baseball, SEC baseball, everything you could want. So make sure to tune in here if you are a big SEC fan, a true SEC diehard here on Southeastern 14, presented as you see scrolling across the bottom by brothrow.com, aura.com. Talk more about that in a minute. But guys, we are talking about the programs that are under the most pressure in the 2023 season. Listen, pressure can be defined in different ways. And it's either, you've put pressure on yourself in a good way because of the success that you've had, and now your fan base is expecting you to kind of take the next step, or it is that things are not going so well and it's time to put up or shut up, so to speak, and maybe people are getting a little bit restless because their program's not going in the right direction. Either way, we got a mix of both of those. Do you want to throw out an honorable mention or two before we get started that don't quite make the top five? Listen, Tennessee and LSU, in my mind, have both risen themselves to a point where, okay, now you've given the fan base a little taste of, okay, what it could be like. Now I think the pressure there is for them to follow up those seasons, but not quite enough pressure to put them in the top five. We will start out right now with number 5, Shane Beamer and the South Carolina Gamecocks. Guys, I think that when it comes to South Carolina, they had some success towards the end of the year last year. They've got Spencer Rattler returning. The fan base now, some people are split on the Dow Loggins hire over there. They just signed one of the biggest recruits that they've ever had in Nichols Harbor come in. But this is the time where year 3, it's going to be expected for Shane Beamer and South Carolina to step up and win some of these games. He's not doing himself any favors with the media. I'll say, having some rabbit ears and always calling people out on things and stuff like that. Some South Carolina diehard, some of them love it, but they only love it and it's only cute and all that kind of stuff when you win football games. That's why, Kirby Smart and Nick Saban and people like that can have these, cantankerous type relationships with the sports media, is because they win football games. Now, South Carolina, it's going to be incumbent upon them to do that. They gave the fan base a little bit of taste of what could be with Clemson, the Clemson victory last year, first one in a long time. Tennessee, of course, stomping on them at the end of the season. And then a little bit of a letdown with Notre Dame. And listen, they've got to replace some playmakers as well with Jaheim Bell, with Marshawn Lloyd transferring out of the program. So it's going to be interesting to see what Dow Loggins is able to do. They've brought in some pieces via the transfer portal. Of course, Clayton White returns as their defensive coordinator. But I'm going to put South Carolina at number 5, a program that definitely is going to be looking to take the next step in the SEC East. Now, going out west, Arkansas, Sam Pittman. There was a lot of buzz, a lot of excitement around that team going into last year. They'd had a terrific year in 2021, kind of got everybody excited out there in Fayetteville. Great start to the season for them over there. And then they ran into a buzzsaw kind of in that Georgia game in 2021 with an injured a little bit KJ Jefferson. KJ Jefferson's coming back. They still have playmakers around him in that offense. They're bringing Dan Enos back, a guy that has had success before at Arkansas. So I think that it's incumbent upon Sam Pittman, Dan Enos, KJ Jefferson, Rocket Sanders, Jaden Hazelwood. There's a lot of people out there that have been, it says to the old biblical principle is, to whom much is given, much is required. Well, Arkansas has been given the much. They've got lots of talent. They've got lots of, lots of key pieces in place. That program is really invested and tried to put in, based on the excitement that Sam Pittman has put into the program, injected into it with some of the results that he's had. Had some tough losses last year in late in ball games. The Texas A&M game comes to mind. So now we're seeing which program is this? Which direction is it going? A lot of people questioned the Sam Pittman hire early on when it first happened. He's put a lot of those haters, a lot of those doubters to the side with his performance, after a couple of seasons. But now in the SEC West, it's, what have you done for me lately division. So I'm going to go with Arkansas at number 4, pressure to win this season. Billy Napier and the Florida Gators and the SEC East. I'm not saying this because expectations are high, because they are not. Florida did not finish the season well, just getting absolutely destroyed by Oregon State. Vanderbilt loss was bad. Of course, they lose Anthony Richardson. They don't really have a proven quarterback. It's either going to be Graham Mertz, most likely. Jack Miller, the transfer of 2 off seasons ago from Ohio State, could be in there. Listen, they lose 4 of their starting offensive linemen. It is going to be a tough deal. Oh, and by the way, congratulations. You get to go out to Utah and have a rematch with Kyle Whittingham's program, with Cameron Rising coming back to start off the season. Billy Napier and the Gators. A lot of people questioned, what this hire would look like and things like that. There's been the Jaden Rashada scandal that's gone on, whether it's boosters being out of sync with Napier and the program, or what's going on. But a lot of negative this offseason for the Florida Gators. And the standard should always be in Gainesville, Florida, to win the SEC East and SEC championships. And with Georgia becoming the back-to-back national champions and the behemoth in that division that they have, make no mistake about it that Billy Napier and company are feeling pressure at number 3 and the most high-ranked SEC East team on this list. It's going to be, if they get off to a rough start, especially with what, the success that Tennessee's had. They've got Tennessee early, of course, Utah. If they get off to a rough start, it's going to be an unpleasant feel, and it's going to be more than the weather that's hot down there in Gainesville, Florida, once things get going in September. Number 2, yeah, I'm going to do it. Alabama, Nick Saban. There's pressure there. Okay, yeah, I know that they won a title in the COVID shortened 2020 season, and listen, they were one possession away from it in 2021 with Bryce Young coming down the field, the pick 6 against Keely Ringo. They won the SEC championship that year, but as I've said, the standard at Alabama, because of what Nick Saban has done and what he's built that program to, the standard is to win national championships and to do it very, very frequently. And when you're understudy of, 9, 10, 11 years, Kirby Smart has now taken the blueprint of what you've done at Alabama and added to it, mixed things up a little bit, made his own little recipe, and has now won back-to-back national championships. As I said, it's all relative in the SEC, right? And for Alabama, any other program that raises in the country, not just in the SEC, but any other program that raises up to become a true threat, a true competitor, that's just not acceptable in their eyes. And Nick Saban wants to win one badly this year. That Alabama fan base wants to win one badly. They've got some questions of, okay, is it going to be Ty Simpson? Is it going to be Jalen Milroe that comes in? Tommy Reese, how's that going to work out? He was actually, by all accounts, the 4th choice because they tried to go get Grubb from Washington. They tried to get Joe Moorhead to leave his post as the head coach at Akron. Freddie Kitchens was contacted before Tommy Reese got the job. So they're trying to transition back to a little bit more of a power run game type deal. They've got 2 talented freshmen incoming in Justice Haynes and Richard Young, but is the offensive line prepared to play that style of football? They lost Javian Cohen. They lost Steins, the right tackle that had transferred in from Vanderbilt. They're going to be moving some pieces around up front, and in there too deep on the offensive line, there is going to be a freshman in the two deep at every position this year, and that usually doesn't bode well for you when you don't have that experience on the offensive line in certain places, especially if somebody goes down, injuries, all that kind of stuff. They're replacing Bryce Young, they're replacing Will Anderson, so questions abound, but the pressure does not go away. Alabama is the program with pressure on it, the second ranked program on our list, and number one shouldn't come as a surprise to you. It's Texas A&M, and Jimbo Fisher knows it. That's why he has gone out and he's hired Bobby Petrino to help him with that offense. How much of the duties he'll actually turn over remains to be seen. Listen, if you got Bobby Petrino, you got that kind of offensive mind, you got all the NIL, the transfer portal, the roster management, everything to take care of. You got the culture issues that you've had, the discipline issues you've had at Texas A&M. Jimbo Fisher needs to say, okay, Bobby Petrino, you be my head coach of the offense. You take care of this. You get us going. You give us a spark over there. I'm going to handle all this other stuff. He's got DJ Durkin, who can, of course, handle the defense for him. Defense wasn't that bad a year ago at all. They just could not do anything offensively. Connor Wegman comes in, very talented, gives them a spark at the end of the season. So he's going to be returning. Listen, they've got wide receivers who can make plays. When it comes to Moose Muhammad, when it comes to Evan Stewart, of course, they've got Anaya Smith coming back. They have some playmakers on that field. Now it's time to get them in space and modernize that offense a little bit. Connor Wegman's got the arm. He can make all the throws. Running back is untested, unproven, so we're going to see what happens over there. And then they still have plenty of talent along that defensive front that can really get after the quarterback on the opposing side. That Miami game early is going to be big. It's kind of the desperation bowl, so to speak. So I'm excited to see how things turn out for all of these programs, guys. And those are your top 5 programs under pressure in the 2023 season for SEC football. This is Southeastern 14. I'm Blayne Gilmer. Make sure to check out our sponsors, brothrow.com. If you want to bet against friends, no juice, nothing against the house. It's, listen, you straight up bet against your buddies on the outcome of games, things like that. It's a gentleman's agreement type deal. So you have nothing going against you other than the word of your friend. You sign up and you bet against somebody on sports action. It's legal in all states. So brothrow.com, check it out, and then aura.com to protect you on the internet. All the business, all the transactions that are made now, you got to be able to protect yourself against phishing, scam, all that kind of stuff. Identity, people trying to steal your identity. aura.com/SEC can help you out with that. For Southeastern 14, I am Blayne Gilmer, and we'll catch you guys next time with more SEC football content.